Legal Lockbox provides you with 24/7 secure cyber access to all of your sensitive legal documents. No more waiting for the bank to open to access your safety deposit box. All of your important legal documents are available at the touch of a finger on any connected device. Whether you're traveling, faced with a medical emergency, struck by a natural disaster, or just living everyday life, having access to your most important personal files and documents won't only save you time, but it will give you peace of mind as well. The need to access our important personal documents can arise when we least expect it. From birth records to insurance papers. With Legal Lockbox, you can have access anytime, anywhere to all your personal, professional, and legal documents. On a family vacation? Where are your records? In a car accident? Where are your records? Flood damage? Where are your records? Fire damage? Where are your records? With a loved one in the emergency room? Where are your records? Need immediate access to your power of attorney? Where are your records? Legal Lockbox will store your documents in a secure, encrypted cloud service. When you need access to them, our two-factor authentication provides you secure access to your account. Our cloud service gives you maximum security for all of your personal, professional, and legal documents. No matter where you are, no matter the situation, Legal Lockbox can securely bring you all of your important files to any connected device. Legal Lockbox. Where are your records?
Good morning. Welcome to Law Power Hour. I'm glad to be back with you. Happy fall, winter. It's a good time of year. A lot of new changes have occurred since I've been off the air. Beginning June 11th of this year, the new no-fault law went into effect. Most of it takes effect in 2020. But all of you, and I say all of you who operate motor vehicles, need to consult with your insurance representative or need to get information on what kind of coverage you should purchase, because things have changed drastically. The new law, which I consider to be the worst changes that could occur for Michigan citizenry, has taken effect. Under the new law, there are limits on catastrophic coverage. That means if an individual is severely maimed or injured in an accident, confined to bed for the rest of their life, needs attendant care, someone to watch over them, bathe them, clean them, feed them, change their dressings, change their clothing, change their undergarments, get them in and out of bed, get them in and out of the shower, get them in and out of the car, transfer them to the hospital when they have to go or for medical appointment. Someone who's there 24/7 is no longer going to be paid. There is going to be a limit of 56 hours per week for attendant care by a professional. There's a different rate of benefit if friends and family perform those services. This is a major drastic change in the no-fault law. So those individuals who are receiving attendant care right now, effective June of 2020, are going to be cut back from long-term care down to 56 hours a week. Additionally, there will be levels of insurance. $50,000 medical coverage, $100,000 medical coverage, and $250,000 medical coverage, and you may purchase catastrophic insurance in addition to that. Under the new law, you can have $50,000 in medical coverage if you're on Medicaid. But this does not protect you. The average cost of medical treatment for an accident runs far more than $50,000 if you're severely injured. So you must, and I encourage you, you must speak to someone about this. Most of the time when I have been on the air in the past, and I've told individuals and asked individuals to make sure that they have coverage, no one pays attention until they have an incident and it's too late. You must be proactive. Under the new changes in the law, it doesn't cover your whole household. So that if you have members of your household who were covered in the past under your insurance contract, if you had an accident with an uninsured motorist, or somebody was on a bicycle and they were injured, or somebody was a pedestrian crossing the street, all of those rules have changed. The insurance company has just ripped the carpet, literally ripped the carpet out from under the individuals in this state, and once again had a piece of legislation passed that undercut the needs of the citizenry at large. And one of the biggest problems we're going to have is between 2019 and 2020, when it's time to renew your insurance, because the insurance companies are bumping up rates at the same time. The biggest problem we had before with rates, and the biggest problem we have now, hasn't changed. Demographics, in other words, where you live, played an important role in what your insurance premium was. For example, if you live in Detroit, your rate may be 40% higher than it is in Farmington Hills. But under the law, you can't purchase your insurance and claim that you stay at one address and live at another. Simply stated, that's called insurance fraud, and they'll deny your claim. Last week I had a woman in, and her son, he was involved in a pedestrian knockdown accident, severely injured, and the insurance company took an examination under oath. That means that they brought in one of their attorneys to determine whether she and her son were entitled to coverage. And here's what happened. For 27 years of driving, she used her mother's address because she took care of her mother and was there 4 days a week. 3 years ago, she purchased a home with her gentleman friend and her children, and they moved into the home about 1.5 miles from her mother. So now she has two addresses, her mother's address and her address. There's virtually no difference in the insurance rate because of where she lives. But the insurance company said, well, we think she committed fraud and we're not going to pay her claim. The reason they're not going to pay her son's claim is that they were using grandma's address. And the reason they were using grandma's address is mom had lived there with her family until 3 years ago when she acquired another residence. So it's very important when you purchase your insurance to look at your insurance contract, because on her insurance contract, they automatically send her by email an insurance contract using her mother's address. Had she had the correct address, there would have never been a question. Now, I'm encouraging you to call in to ask me questions about No Fault Today. I'm encouraging you to call in because there are problems out there that we have to resolve. Under the new law, effective June 2019, 30 days after you submit your claim, if you submit it timely, the insurance company is responsible to make payment of wage loss, attendant care, and medical, provided you provide them with the following documents: a statement from your doctor saying you're off work and why you're off work if it's related to an accident, a statement from your doctor indicating what your medical needs are and why you need treatment, and a statement from your doctor if you need any household assistance or attendant care. You do not need a lawyer. I've told you this 100 times in the past. You do not need a lawyer to open a claim, which right now is going to open the door to a discussion about what happens when people get involved in accidents. If an individual gets involved in an accident in southeastern Michigan today, he or she is faced with the worst possible trauma in addition to being injured. Besieged by vermins. These are people who are working out of hospitals. These are people who claim they're working out of hospitals. These are people who are using police scanners. These are people who claim that they're in a position to offer medical care and treatment through sources that they have. They're runners. They're out in the street, and they're hustling for business to turn over to lawyers. They're hustling for business to turn over to lawyers. And they're injuring people economically and financially when they're trying to recover from their injuries in an accident. I'm going to give you a couple classic examples of this. And if you're out there listening, would you call me? Because I have to know that you're listening. Because this is really important. Last month, I had a client who was involved in a motorcycle accident. His pelvis was broken, his jaw was broken, his arm was broken, his eye was dislocated. He was taken to the emergency room at a local hospital. And you know, he had to go for surgery. You know, he's out of work. He's out of commission. He was earning good wages. But guess what? Within 24 hours of being involved in an accident, he was contacted by 6 different individuals who had pipelines to law firms in this city who wanted to direct him one way or another to these individuals or direct him one way or another for medical care. This is intolerable. This is wrong. This is offensive. Nevertheless, people are doing it because they think that they're going to get some kind of gain financially if they use these people and they're involved in an accident. It's not the case. Only the injured, whether it's a physical injury or an emotional injury, should be compensated for an accident. The rest of this has to be dealt with in the criminal courts because these people have to be prosecuted. They're interfering with your right to receive benefits. They're setting you up for failure. They're setting you up to be in the hands of an attorney who's going to claim that he or she is entitled to an attorney fee for services that they do not have to provide and you do not need. So under the new no-fault law, all you have to do is call a legitimate attorney. Or you can call my office at 248-335-9266 or my 800 number, 1-800-LAW-USA 1. 1-800-LAW, L-A-W, USA 1. And we will give you a free consultation. A free consultation to direct you and tell you what you should do if you're involved in an accident. The second example was a T-bone accident where my client told me that she went to the emergency room, and as she was leaving the emergency room, a man came up to her, handed her a card, and said, "I'm going to be your case manager." A case manager should be a person who has training in medical care and treatment, not some hustler off the street who's going to say, "I made 4 appointments for you to see doctors A, B, C, and D for your injuries." These things are happening every day. I can give you a list of hospitals where the vermins are, but the hospitals are going to say it's not true. But time and time again, we're faced with these problems at the hospital. If you want information on the new no-fault laws, call my office and we will either A, send it to you in the mail, or B, email it to you so that you have a basic understanding of the changes in the new no-fault law. If you don't do these things and you don't talk to your insurance broker about your coverage, you're going to be in real trouble next year. Real trouble because you won't know what to do if you're involved in an accident. You're going to be overwhelmed, unfortunately, because of your injury. And unfortunately, you're going to be overwhelmed because you're not going to have enough coverage to pay your claim. Now, I was on the board that developed the original no-fault law back in 1973. That law was set up to protect citizenry to protect people in the community. That law was set up not for individuals to profit at the expense of injured individuals. But that's all that it did. It just opened the doors to billboards, TV advertising, and all kinds of other garbage. And I mean garbage. Garbage in terms of sending people out for unnecessary medical examinations. Garbage in going to physical therapy clinics that charge outrageous rates. Garbage because of MRI clinics that are charging $12,000 for an MRI examination that you could have for $350,000. Garbage in terms of case managers. Garbage in terms of physical therapy. Garbage in transportation companies. And it's all garbage. So now, because of all that garbage, we have a new set of no-fault laws that aren't going to really benefit the public like the law was to benefit the public. They're going to hurt us. They're going to hurt us in our pocketbooks. They're going to hurt our homes. They're going to hurt the people in our homes because we may not have enough coverage if we're involved in an accident. And it's absolutely necessary for us, to purchase the best coverage that we can get. So please, if you have any need for any information regarding this, call me at the station or call me at 248-335-9266, and we will provide you with a summary of the laws and when the laws are going to take effect. And don't forget, you don't need a lawyer. What you do need is somebody to guide you without any personal or financial interest in the outcome of your case. And then you and your family can make an intelligent decision when you want to have a lawyer involved in your case. You and your family are in a better position to do that 30 days after an injury than you are from day one, unless there are special circumstances where you may need the assistance of a lawyer from the get-go. And you can accomplish that with a consultation. You absolutely can accomplish that by calling a reputable lawyer and getting information. But if you're going to pay attention to these billboards and these TV ads and who got how much money for your injury case, well, it's no different than buying a lottery ticket. It's no different than going to the casino and they have a special night on jackpots. It just doesn't make sense. It's your injury, your loss, your family's loss, and it should be treated with respect. If it isn't, then you're doing a disservice to yourself. And I mean a disservice to yourself and nobody else. And watch out for these vermins that are coming out of the hospitals. I'm going to be real polite today, and I'm not going to name the hospitals. Because if I start naming the hospitals are going to get mad at me and say it's not true. But I have documentation. I have documentation as to which hospitals are the biggest offenders in these areas. Good morning.
Good morning. I think you explained that new law very clear, and it's devastating for this community or any other community when you talk about the catastrophic insurance being deducted. can this law be appealed by a petition?
Yes, it can, because the insurance companies, and with all due respect, the governor of the state of Michigan signed the bill, and joint houses approved it. And the effect of it is to undermine the community again. They're trying to fool us and saying, well, you're going to get lower premiums for this, but in effect, well, you get lower premiums, you have lower benefits. And it's not right. We could have a referendum on this issue, but it's not going to take effect, all of it, until 2020. So I'm sure that lawyers are working on getting some of these provisions set aside. And there's litigation that will be pending over the next 3 or 4 years on these issues.
Right. But I think the appeal would be more effective and more efficient in the long run. We must appeal that law.
Thank you. Have a good morning.
Thank you a lot.
Well, I'm glad that one listener called in with his opinion about what's going on, because he recognizes what the effect of these laws are on our citizenry. And I believe that none of you should be fooled out there. Now, I'm going to explain a few things before we finish on this new no-fault law. So, it used to be, and I say used to be before the new law passed, that if you were riding as a passenger in a car and you had no insurance, you were still covered. In other words, you still had insurance benefits available to you from the accident through either A, the vehicle that you were riding in, or B, your household. But if you are uninsured, you can still make a claim, but you have to go to the Michigan Assigned Claims Plan and file a claim. And they will assign an insurance company. They will assign an insurance company to adjust your claim. Now, here's the point. You know from the immediate time and point that that accident occurs if you are an uninsured passenger in the car, because you're not going to come under what Keller would call the automobile umbrella policy of that car. So from the first day, you're going to have to file a form with the Michigan Assigned Claims Plan to get your benefits going. And if you have other medical coverage, it may be tied to it, coordinated with it. And unless you have somebody who's reviewing these documents and explaining to you what your rights are, what your responsibilities are, you're going to be out in the cold for 90 days. You may not have any benefits for 90 days, and you may not have any protection. And that's going to be a big problem. I'm going to take a break for a minute. When I come back, we're going to talk about a whole new concept in law. It's revolutionary, it's important, and it affects every one of us. So let me take a break for about 2 minutes, and I'll be right back.
Are you in legal trouble? Are you in need of legal advice? Or just have general legal questions? Call 1-800-529-8721. That's 1-800-LAW-USA1. and watch Law Power Hour and get your questions answered by experienced attorneys who are experts in their field. That's Law Power Hour, hosted by Barry Keller, attorney at law, Saturdays at 10 a.m. here on WHPR Detroit Live.
Legal Lockbox provides you with 24/7 secure cyber access to all of your sensitive legal documents. No more waiting for the bank to open to access your safety deposit box. All of your important legal documents are available at the touch of a finger on any connected device. Whether you're traveling, faced with a medical emergency, struck by a natural disaster, or just living everyday life, having access to your most important personal files and documents won't only save you time, but it will give you peace of mind as well. The need to access our important personal documents can arise when we least expect it. From birth records to insurance papers. With Legal Lockbox, you can have access anytime, anywhere to all your personal, professional, and legal documents. On a family vacation? Where are your records? In a car accident? Where are your records? Flood damage? Where are your records? Fire damage? Where are your records? With a loved one in the emergency room? Where are your records? Need immediate access to your power of attorney? Where are your records? Legal Lockbox will store your documents in a secure, encrypted cloud service. When you need access to them, our two-factor authentication provides you secure access to your account. Our cloud service gives you maximum security for all of your personal, professional, and legal documents. No matter where you are, no matter the situation, Legal Lockbox can securely bring you all of your important files to any connected device. Legal Lockbox. Where are your records?
I told you in the second half of the show that I was going to talk about a new topic with you. And it's kind of exciting. I am so caught up in the idea that it's almost hard to explain without being joyful. What it comes down to is over the last 6 to 8 months, I said, you know, I've been practicing law a long time, 51 years. And nobody, hold on for a second here. Good morning.
Good morning, Attorney Keller. This is Sister Keela.
How are you?
I have one question about the no-fault law, if you will.
Yes.
Does the new law affect the benefits of those who were covered before the new law
Yes.
takes effect?
Yes.
It is?
Yes, and I was pointing out in the attendant care area that they're going to cut it down as of 2020, in June 2020, to 56 hours a week. But it doesn't affect the existing medical coverage because that's contractual. But if you have an accident after June of 2019, you're going to be subjected to all kinds of new rules, all kinds of new regulations, and insurance changes. So you must...
But it will affect the attendant care of those already covered.
As of next year.
As of next year.
Absolutely.
So if a person was being paid for attendant care, it's going to go down to 56 hours?
Maximum
only?
56 hours a week.
will that be able to be? Will a person be able to appeal that?
No.
Based on the individual?
No, there are certain exceptions, but those exceptions in catastrophic situations are still going to be limited in terms of attendant care. It would really require some skilled care individual, like an LPN, to come in and offer medical care and attention 24/7. So it's going to have an impact. Big changes.
Wow. Even if the injured person has extreme behavioral issues?
Yes, I have cases right now where people have to be monitored 24/7 because if they're not monitored, they may be in the house alone and they've had a closed head injury. They may turn the stove on and forget to shut it off, and they could burn the house down.
Right.
I have 2 cases like that right now. It's all going to change.
Okay.
So you got to consult a lawyer and talk about it. Thanks for calling.
Bye-bye.
Now, I was beginning to share with you my enthusiasm for this whole new way of handling legal problems. So here's what happened. I set up a subsidiary of the law firm called Solutions Limited. It's new, it's novel, it's different. But I want you all to understand what it is, and it'll make sense. As a rule, most of us will go to the doctor for a checkup every year. But none of us go to a lawyer until we get in trouble. So what Solutions is all about is preventative law. In other words, instead of waiting until you're sued, when you enter any kind of contract or any kind of business relationship, or you buy a house, or you draft a will, get into the preventative law mode. What preventative law is, it's the art and science of preventing legal problems. What it means is that you will seek out an attorney and pay for a consultation and ask the attorney to review your documents and give you a legal opinion and anticipate and prevent legal problems from occurring. For example, if you're going to have work done on your house, if you're not using a legitimate contractor, you obviously know that there's a high risk that there's going to be a problem. But if you're using a licensed contractor and there's a written contract, and you come into the attorney's office and you say, you know, I'm going to have my driveway rebuilt, my porch rebuilt, a room added on, and here's a contract from the contractor. This is what your attorney can do for you. He or she can look up that individual to find out if they're licensed. He or she can check with the Department of Licensing and Regulation to see if there are any violations. He or she can check to see if this is a real ongoing company. So that you're anticipating the potential problems that exist and dealing with an unlicensed contractor. and you're preventing legal problems from occurring, well, you're going to pay a consultation fee with the lawyer. $350, $400 for a consultation to review the contract. That certainly puts you further ahead than giving the contractor $25,000 and having the contractor only perform half of the job and taking off with the balance of the money, and then having to hire a lawyer, and sue the contractor to get back only a portion of your money. So what it's all about, it's the art and science of preventing legal problems. Whether it's a contract, whether it's your job, whether it's estate planning or a real estate transaction, the whole idea behind preventative law and solutions is literally, and I mean this literally, is to give you a leg up and give you an opportunity to get a clear understanding of your needs in a particular transaction. I have people buy homes all the time, and they'll call me and say, I want assistance buying a home. Well, I say, well, is there a certificate of occupancy? Most of the time, they're buying them to rent them to other people. Has it been inspected by the building department? Do you have a certificate regarding lead paint? Has it been checked for radon? Are the steps the correct level, the risers on the steps? Is there black mold in the house? You don't want all these problems to occur after you buy the property and you've taken it as is. Because once you buy the property and you've taken it as is, you're stuck. You're absolutely stuck. And you're responsible for repairing or fixing the situation. Even some of the most sophisticated business people, excuse me, in the county have failed to do what we call due diligence when they buy a piece of property. They may even buy a building that has asbestos, lead paint, and other contaminants that have to be removed. And I've got one situation right now where someone bought a building and there were underground storage tanks that had been there for several years and had been dormant, and now they have to be removed. Now, this is the problem. The cost of removing the underground storage tanks far exceeds the cost of what they paid for the property. So they have to go into what they call remediation. And remediation is very expensive because maybe it contaminated other properties that were next to or in close proximity to where the underground storage tanks were. So had the purchaser conducted an environmental inspection of the property, they would not have to deal with these problems. Consequently, it's our responsibility to engage in what we call preventative law. If you go out and you buy a car and it's not a new car, you should go on Carfax, for example, and go on Carfax and check to find out if the car's ever been damaged before in an accident. This information's available. See what kind of warranties you get if you're buying a car. I had this poor woman call me. Her mother died. She decided to buy 3 cars, one for herself and her 2 daughters. So she buys the 3 cars off a car lot, spends $26,000 for 3 cars. After 2 weeks, none of them ran. And she didn't have warranties. She had no warranties or protection when she purchased the used cars. So my point is real simple. Had she called up a lawyer and said, you know, I'm going to buy these cars, and I want you to tell me if this is a good contract, it saves a lot of trouble. The whole idea is to prevent legal problems from occurring in anticipation of doing business. You're going to have a new roof put on your house. You want to make sure it's being done by somebody that's legal, ethical, and licensed, excuse me. The same thing holds true in the transfer of property. Do you know, I cannot tell you how many times I've had individuals come in where they've purchased or they're an heir on a piece of property and there are several other individuals involved, and somebody has to clean up the title issue because nobody took the time to think it through in the beginning. I'll explain it to you in simple terms. You move into the family home. Grandma and Grandpa have passed away. Mom moved in there, and then you lived there. Mom passed away. So nobody took the time to consult a lawyer and say, how do we transfer the property from one generation to the next? By will, by deed, by going to a lawyer and going through a discussion of what your needs are, you can avoid lawsuits. Lawsuits cost more than legal consultations. Lawsuits are more demanding on individuals physically and mentally and financially. This is the reason why Solutions Limited was set up, to anticipate and prevent legal problems from occurring. I could give you so many instances of how legal problems can be avoided. But the problem is that most individuals wait until the problem occurs and wait until they're sued to deal with the issue. And this is wrong. This is absolutely wrong. You know, yesterday I was talking to a lawyer who handles a lot of bankruptcy. Excuse me, I have a little cough here. And he told me one of the biggest problems that he has is that with all these forms that you can buy online from Rocket Lawyer and these other companies, and I'm not condemning Rocket Lawyer, most people just think they can fill in the blanks on these forms. Most people think they can fill in the blanks on a will, and that's going to protect them and their families or their businesses. Law is a profession, just like medicine. You wouldn't operate on yourself and you shouldn't handle your own legal affairs. You should just get a consult and pay for the consult to avoid legal problems. That old adage, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. It applies to the legal system. It absolutely applies to the legal system. And this is why corporations have staff counsel. This is why corporations have in-house counsel, because they sit down and they anticipate. They anticipate what the legal problems are. I'm going to give you the simplest example of all. I mean, it's it's absolutely incredible what I'm going to tell you. A young man, he's 28 years old, came in to see me at the clinic at Kimony. We have 2 clinics that we service, City Covenant and Kimony, every week. So he came into Kimony, and he and his girlfriend had lived together. They had a child. The child, thank God, is fine. The child's 5 months old. But his girlfriend had cancer. She died. As the father of the child. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. I'm calling you back again. I called about the no-fault new law. Could we have a referendum? And I'd like to know if we did start writing up some language, and we consider that you was on the 1970, I think you said, no fault, and you know the good parts, the garbage, and also you know this very clear. Could you be available for us to give us your experts on the opinion and on the new law that we might want to?
I would be very happy to do that. Okay?
Okay, then. I'll be getting on with you.
Thank you. Now, getting back to what I was telling you, and thanks for calling, by the way, just to finish this. So here he is. He's a single parent. And he says, well, what happens to my baby? What happens to my baby if I die? Well, it was the most important question that he could ask. So I said, you need a will. And in the will, appoint a person as the guardian of your baby. And that will help you and that person, in the event of your death, go to court and have that person appointed a guardian over the child. And we drew up an entire will. It was a simple will. It wasn't expensive. $150. The idea behind this was prevention. He wanted to ensure if something happened to him, that his 5-month-old baby was going to be protected. He wanted to ensure that he knew today that if he died tomorrow, that he knew who was going to be the guardian over his child. And that he knew if that guardian couldn't take care of the child, he designated a second person as the guardian to take care of the child. Now, what better protection could he have than knowing what was going on? Good morning.
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How can I help you?
Okay. I'm very distraught this morning. See, what happened was around 2:30 in the afternoon, I got involved in an accident. Two cars had allowed me to pass, and when I tried to go into the middle lane, this car whizzed by, clipped my front end, and his car went careening into another car. And the officer gave me the ticket, failed to yield. Now, I don't know what to do. I'm just...
Okay, here's what you're going to do.
I've never been in anything like that.
Okay, hold on for a second. I'm going to be off the air. They just gave me the signal. You call my office, 248-335-9266, tomorrow at 11 o'clock, because I work Sundays.
You do work Sundays? Okay.
I sure do, and I'll tell you how to handle it.
Wait, what's the number? 248?
335-9266.
335?
9266. Okay?
If I could ask one thing?
Yep.
Do you take clients usually?
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you what to do. You may not need a lawyer in the beginning. Let's just talk it through in the morning. Okay?
Okay. Okay, thank you.
I'm there every Sunday from 11 to 3. Thank you.
Oh, 11 to 3?
Yeah, just give me a call.
11 a.m. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Have a good day.
Bye.
Thank you all for having me this week. I'll see you next week. I'm happy to be back. God bless you.